Lila's baseball game the other day and we saw a coyote. You know, like that's such a cool thing, right? That's just such a cool thing. And so you want to say something?
Yeah.
What do you want to say?
I saw two blackbirds, you can say. I saw one in my compost and the other one in a tree.
Two black bears, one in compost and one in the tree. That's where we live, okay? So I say this to you because we live in what could appear to be an idyllic kind of surroundings, which is incredibly wonderful. And yet I know that just shy of the world that we live in, if you think of us as, you know, just an atmosphere that we create, there's a lot of pain and suffering happening in the world. But I also want to say that it is changing. I want us to focus on the changes. Because the fact is, the world is going to be disrupted the more we declare our wholeness. The more we declare inclusivity, the more we declare and practice diversity and acceptance and forgiveness and allowance, the more those of us who are plugged into spirit declare these things, the more the world, the more what is contrary is going to show itself, because that's the way it works. So while we're all digging this whole thing, some people will look in and go, you know, what's wrong with these people? But the fact is, it's our job, each one of us sitting here, to stay plugged in to this whole thing that we're doing, because that's how the change happens, because we stay steady in it. So when I see things, read things, watch things that are contrary to this little bubble that we live in, I'm often horrified. I'm just often horrified. But then what I know what I have to do is I have to bring my attention back to us, because this is the reality I want to promote, and I promote it by paying attention to it. Does that make sense? So I'm grateful for the Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, that for almost 21 years we have been a safe haven. I'm grateful for us being a safe haven. And I know that I've had a lot to do with it, but I'm not the only thing. I'm not the only one who's influenced. It started with me because I'm going off script here a little bit from the subject for today, but I do want to talk about it. You know, I'm in the middle of a major project. And in this project, there's going to be new marketing and branding and such and such and such. And so what I'm listening to the book and taking a course by a man named Simon Sinek. Anybody know Simon Sinek? Simon's great. I love everything he puts out. And one of Simon's major messages, he's an author, a thought leader. I don't even know how he titles himself, to be honest. But he talks about identifying your why. That when we start with anything, we should start with the why. And I've always loved that, because before I was aware of Simon and his message, you know, in all the courses that I've taught, I've always say, identify your why, because some of the work that I do is so tender. If we don't remember why we're doing it, we might run away, you know? So why is very important. And my why from the time I was knee-high to a grasshopper, or a big part of it, was, I think, to duplicate the spiritual community that I grew up in, where I was surrounded by people of all colors and all shapes, and where we had this small community, which is a portion of the people who were there, of these lesbian women, and they used to just love on me, and I love them, and I think that's where my love came from, and that's where I know love is love is love. So my why is to keep duplicating that feeling, where no matter where I go in the world, I knew that I had that community to lean on. I knew that they were promoting a message that was going to grow me. And so for me, that's what I do here. That's what I believe is our job. We don't have to agree with each other. But there is a place for us to have mutual respect and acceptance in our differences. We're different. That whole thing that we're all like, no, we're not. We're not. But we can accept each other's differences, and that becomes a powerful thing. So this month, we're launching the month of self-care. And there is not a time in history that I could have shown up with more enthusiasm for this subject than I do now. Why? Because I was 100% completely guilty of not practicing self-care, at least not in the complete way. I've turned a corner and have come to realize how much, and I want you to catch these words because they're purposeful, and this came out of the book study that we're doing. I know I keep talking about this book study. And what I did is I got in touch with the fact that I betrayed myself by betraying my body. Can you get that? I betrayed myself when I betray taking care of my body temple. It's an actual form of betrayal, which carries with it a lot of feelings and a lot of, be honest with you, guilt and shame. And for years, I knew I couldn't talk to you about self-care. I could mention it. I could, have someone else talk about it. But I couldn't talk about it. The first time it started to change for me is a few years ago, and it might have been just prior, Wadleigh, you're in the camera, just to let you know. A few years ago, there was times when I knew my mind needed to rest. So I started, and I've always been a napper, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about before I get out of bed, if I'm not feeling alive yet, I would allow myself to rest my mind. And that was where I started to pay attention. Now, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that a big impetus for what I've been doing, I would be lying if I didn't tell you that it has everything to do with Seth's wedding next year. Because it's my son, it's my third son, I'm going to be at the wedding. And I'm not going to be the frumpy mother-in-law. I'm not going to do that. So I took myself to a gym and signed up, and it's been great. It's been great. And I kind of woke my body up. But yeah, you're laughing at me, but you don't have kids then, or you don't have them old enough. But you'll see, I'm not going to be the frumpy one there. So, Neil says he'll be the frumpy one. So, when I think about self-care, though, and I asked, or I pondered, the categories of self-care that I felt mattered, because it's not just the body, it's not just our emotions, it's not just our spirituality, and it's not just our mental health, it's all them. We have to have a balance of all them. So in case you're interested, I have provided for you a rubric that you have a copy of, and I encourage you to take a look at that rubric. And I love that word. Isn't that a great word? I didn't know what that word was until my son, my third son, went to school and they introduced a new word. I love that. I know. Well, I didn't know what it was when I was your age. Never even heard of it then. So the thing is to pay attention. Where are you physically caring or not caring for yourself? Where are you spiritually caring or not caring for yourself? Where are you emotionally caring or not caring for yourself? And where are you mentally caring and not caring for yourself? Do not leave out one category. If the category is good and you're good with it, great. And we will make this available to those of you at home. We will make it available to you. I'm not sure how, but we will do that. I promise you that. So I guess we'll just send it out. Maybe that's what we'll do. Balance in our lives is important. I don't know, maybe I'm just older and things all look different. Actually, the world has shades of different colors when you come to a certain age, right? I know I'm older than you, but for those of you who might be around my age, life looks different here. And there are a lot less things that catch my attention to upset me than they used to. Now it's the quality is about spending time with my family more than ever before. Matter of fact, today we're going home and we're having our family dinner together. Because for me, that's part of my mental health. Plugging into family is that, my mental, emotional health. I'm not sure. I go back and forth between where that fits in. But this is where forgiveness fits in. Self-care means that you take yourself seriously and you choose not to have things dragging behind you in your life. And when we're upset and when we don't pay attention, we drag these things along. And let me tell you, I'm going to tell you the best thing you can do right now if you're willing to practice for 1 month. Stop speaking words against yourself. Stop criticizing yourself. Stop finding fault. Stop thinking you're not enough. Even if it trickles up from the back of your head in that voice behind the voice where those unwanted aspects kind of hover, when it comes up, no. And if that's all you did for the next month, if that is the only thing you added to your self-care practices, it would be major. Because most of us, voices they're bilingual and they're sneaky and they come out as little feelings. But if that is the only thing that we did, we would make a difference. But to take it a little bit further is completely begin to watch your mind and watch your voice. Watch what comes out. Watch what you're pondering. You don't need me. You don't need a practitioner. You don't need anything. If you learn to listen to what is going on in that inner community. Because inside of that inner community, it's like last month was all about the shadows. Within that inner community is not only the issues, but it's the wisdom to heal them. Most of us, though, haven't learned how to practice listening deeply enough that we hear the wisdom. But the wisdom is there. But if you cease speaking against yourself, and then you take it to the next, what would be the next thing to do if you stop speaking against yourself?
Positively speak up to yourself.
So what? Yes, that's what I was looking for. Yes, now stop criticizing anyone. Stop finding fault anywhere. I know that you're going to have emotional reactions to things, especially if you have kids or grandkids. I get that. I get that there'll be that thing. But if you can discipline your mouth to not let the impulses out, then you have helped to not build up the stuff that causes us this pain and discomfort. Am I clear? Yeah. So we start here, and because God, this is only selfish anyway, because if you stop criticizing yourself, you also have already stopped criticizing me. So when I stop criticizing myself, I am automatically not criticizing you. Why is that? Because in truth, according to science of mind, and according to metaphysics and New Thought, there's only one of us. There's no place that we can criticize and where we are not impacted. I carry all my criticisms with me. So because I don't really want to carry them anymore, I do everything I can to not participate in that. The less you find fault, it means then you train your mind to not look for a place to place it. Is that clear? This is all part of self-care. Because this is how we promote the mental, emotional, spiritual atmosphere that we can grow out of. And sometimes I was with my prayer partner this morning having to do with my taking care of myself physically. And this was a credit to Joe Christiana, because Joe is another prayer partner of mine. And you know, I've asked for prayer support in the past to make sure I take care of myself. And I realized that I wanted to like it. Thank you, Lynette. I actually wanted to like it. I kept treating for the wrong thing. I wanted to have the impulse because I love to go to the gym and I love to work out and no, I don't. So if I don't, and that's what's in the way, then I've decided I got to just do it because discipline requires that I care for my body temple. So now I do it out of discipline, not because I'm going to enjoy it. You catch that? So whatever's in the way, treat for what's in the way. And I got to tell you, those of us gray-haired individuals more near my age, you and I cannot afford to not take care of ourselves. We cannot afford to not do things. We cannot afford to not walk and do some kind of, I'm not going to be giving advice now, but something. And you're all going to find your own thing. But your body, do this for a second. This is your temple. This has been a gift you've been given. My God, let's take care of it. Let's love on it to the best of your ability. Start somewhere. And if you have a sedentary job, get your phone out. I don't mean now. Set an alarm, and every 15 to 20 minutes, get up and do something. Get up and walk, get up and stretch, get up and walk around the room, do jumping jacks, do something. Love on your body. That self-care is self-love. Self-care is self-love. And they've done scientific tests to prove the impact of being near a body of water. If you go by a stream or a pond or someplace like that, you can sit for like 20 minutes. 20 minutes. That impact upon your body is amazing. Mother Nature is a very forgiving and generous element in our lives. So in your self-care, see if you can get yourself to a body of water. I have this interesting, I've been meaning to blog about it, in the town of Denville, it's a sweet town, and there's highways running all through it. We have six. We have 46, Route 10, Route 80, all these highways that run through our little town. And there's a river, it's the Rockaway River, which when Ida came, she reared her head and bit back at the town. But there's a place where I go to sit by the river that when I'm looking at the river, and often I take my grandchildren there, and the water's always flowing, and there's people fly fishing. So in front of me is the river, and the sounds of the trees and the babbling water. And then right there is Route 46. So as I sit, I choose, where do I want to place my attention? Do I want to have my peace be interrupted by the sounds of traffic? Or do I want to place my focus around the river and the sounds and the birds and the crickets? See, at every moment of our lives, we have a choice where to place our attention. And depending upon where you place your attention, that's the gift you receive. So one other thing I'd like to ask you to do for your body. And since this is the month of June, we have 3 other weeks here together, but you have every day of the month to practice this. Sit and ask your body, what do I need to know? What do I need to know? What have I not been paying attention to? And I am telling you, your body will let you know. It might sneak up as like a little thought. If you actually hear voices, call a therapist. But it will come up as an impulse. It'll come up as maybe pay attention to this or this, whatever it is. Your body is here for you. You and I must be here for our bodies. Self-care. And here's the thing, for those of you who have people that depend upon you, you can't give from an empty well. You can't. Fill it. Love on yourself. You know, and I want to go back just one more second so I signed up for this gym, a little too expensive, so I'm going to be going somewhere else. And I came from not doing anything to going to this gym 3 times a week and having to travel about 20 minutes or so to get there. So I figured out it was about 4.5 hours of my week I was now dedicating to myself. And I thought to myself, wow, I didn't miss that time. It was worth me investing that time, because before then I would always say, oh, I don't have time. I have too much to do. And yet once I made the commitment, I found the time. Commit to yourself. You are worthy recipient of your good. Let's know at the end of this month that we have a different conversation, that we all talk to each other about what we're doing. On Sundays, maybe instead of going home, go for a walk, especially on a gorgeous day like this. And you can see today, which I don't normally, I'm wearing my Science of Mind necklace, my Science of Mind stole, and I wanted to, I was very purposeful today because Ernest Holmes was clear that we must feed our being, because my being and your being are one being. There's only one of us. So take care of yourself for my sake, and I'll take care of myself for your sake. And then we walk around modeling self-care and possibility for everybody that's watching us. And people are watching. They always are. So let's bring this into a treatment. And if you will, I invite you to hold hands with somebody. And if you want, you may stand and really stand for yourself if you're choosing to stand. Yeah, I love that. Oh, so know with me right here and right now that the power, the presence, the love, the sweet, sacred essence of good that is everywhere present is moving in, through, and as each one of us right now. Right now. I don't care what we call it. We can call it God, Spirit, love, whatever word. This one, when we allow it, shall have its way with us. It shall have its way with us. Let us open our mind, our heart, and our soul to access the presence of the One. And as it moves down and through each of us, I declare on our behalf that it is healing where healing is required. It is soothing where soothing is needed. This is the activity of Spirit as us. So with every breath we take, let's let this breath be the breath of love as us. For this good, this so very good, I'm grateful. And I surrender this word, and I allow it to be so. And so it is.